Knowing that second marriages are more likely to end in divorce than first marriages, and being that I was happy and thriving as a divorced single man, why did I get married again? And after being betrayed the first time around, why take that risk? Well, those are fair questions, and I'm glad you asked. Hey, this is Todd. Welcome to the Thrive Singles Podcast. Whether you're single again or still single, stop hating being single and learn to thrive. And welcome back for another week of the Thrive Singles Podcast. If you're a regular, thank you so much for being here with me again this week. And if it's your first time, welcome aboard. I hope you find this podcast worth subscribing to and worth sharing with other single again and still single Christians you know. This week, I'm talking about why I got married again. I was perfectly fine as a single man. After being so broken after my divorce and finally adjusting to single life and learning to thrive in it, why take the risk of getting married again? First and foremost, I married again because I wanted to. I know, but look, hear me out. That sentence says way more than you think it does. It says, getting married is what I wanted. Getting married wasn't driven by any external pressures from friends or families or society. It's what I wanted. It's what I desired. That sentence also says getting married is what I wanted. It doesn't say that I needed to or had to. It says I wanted to. I got past the point of feeling like I had to and simply wanted to. That's what should drive any decision to get married or get married again. A want, a drive, a desire. Not an internal neediness or an external pressure. Secondly, and I'm not going to lie to you, a big part of why I got married again is because I missed sex. As a Christian, engaging in sex with someone I was not married to was not an option. Now, it's important to view this in light of what I wrote earlier in this post. I wanted sex, I desired sex, but I didn't need sex to be happy. It was a want, not a need. My sex drive didn't force me to get married again, but my desire for sex was one of the main things that led to my desire to get married. But, great as sex is, that's only part of the story. To me, sex without intimacy is just not fulfilling. It's being connected to and committed to somebody that gives sex meaning. In that context, sex becomes so much more than just physical gratification or satisfying an urge. It becomes beautiful, satisfying, healing, bonding, even sacred. And of course, there's a lot more to intimacy than sex. Sex is only one physical manifestation of intimacy. I wanted physical touch in general. I wanted to hold hands, hug, kiss. Intimacy is also intensely emotional. It's knowing and being known by someone. All of the good, the bad, and the things you'd rather keep secret that you never told anyone else. There's a trust and a vulnerability to an intimate relationship. You can't have that until you find someone who proves themselves trustworthy and you learn to trust again. If I wanted to make this a longer, extended episode, I could also delve into financial, spiritual, and other forms of intimacy. But I need to move on, and you get my point. I'm talking about intimacy, something that goes far beyond just companionship. So, if sex and intimacy are important, that leads me directly to my next point. I wanted to get married again because I got to know someone and found them desirable and trustworthy. I had zero interest in marrying someone who might break my heart again. That would have been devastating. I waited and waited. Waited until I got to know someone I knew I could trust. Trust is built over time. You can't know if somebody's trustworthy until you spend a lot of time with them, a lot of non-romantic time. Romance and dating just clouds your perception of anyone you're interested in. Of course, someone can be extremely trustworthy, but if you don't find them desirable, what's the point of getting married? I waited until I found someone trustworthy and desirable. And by desirable, I mean I found someone physically, sexually, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually desirable. This is a lifetime thing. Don't settle. One huge reason we decided to get married was that we were both at a good place in our lives as singles. We had done the work and given ourselves the time to get emotionally and financially ready, and we were both thriving as singles. It'd be terrible to meet the right person at a time when you're not yet the right person. It just wouldn't work. The key is to spend your time as a single becoming the person you're looking for is looking for. Thank God that by the time we met, we'd both spent years learning to thrive as singles. We weren't two desperate, lonely people looking for someone to complete us or come to our emotional or financial rescue. We were both content, thriving, happily single, and in no rush to get married. Neither of us would have been attracted to the other if that wasn't the case. Being desperate, needy, and miserable as a single is not attractive. Being independent, confident, and thriving is. Like I said earlier, it's important to note that neither of us was desperately looking for someone to come rescue us financially. One way to take some of the pressure to marry off of yourself is to become financially stable and independent. I know that's easier said than done, but it's important and it's worth the effort. It frees you to marry again for the right reasons and decreases the chances of you jumping into a bad relationship just because it makes financial sense. And besides that, when Anita and I met, we'd both come to a place of emotional stability. We were over our exes, over our emotional neediness, done with playing dating games, and confident and comfortable in our own skin. When you learn to thrive as a single, then you're ready to get married again. Birds of a feather do tend to flock together. Healthy, confident, thriving, high-quality people are attracted to other healthy, confident, thriving, high-quality people. Unless you want to attract whiny, negative, self-centered, desperate people, lose the whining, complaining, nihilism, and desperation. Instead, work to develop thankfulness, generosity, and confidence. Those will attract people worth marrying. So in the end, I got married again because that's what I wanted. I wanted sex and intimacy with someone I found desirable and I could trust. And I waited for that until I was thriving as a single and not desperate for sex or financial or emotional rescue. Because being happily single gives you the best chance of being happily married or happily remarried. So, till next time, think about why you want to get married. Then think about what'll put you in the best position to be happily married. Go check out all the links in this week's blog post. Seriously, go read all the related articles. I mentioned a lot of them in here, but they're important. And as always, till next week, thrive on. I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. See you next week. Till then, be sure to subscribe and go check out my extensive archive of past posts at thrivesingles.com. And thrive on.
Whoa, thrive. Yeah, come alive. There's more to life. You gotta grow, you gotta thrive. Whoa, whoa, you gotta thrive. There's more to life than the just survive. You gotta grow, you gotta thrive.